While thousands of people took preventative measures not to damage their eyes during this week's eclipse, it seems that a fish farm in Washington state was not prepared for the celestial event. High tides caused by the eclipse caused a net to break, releasing thousands of Atlantic salmon into the Pacific Ocean. And some say this could cause potentially devastating effects to the ecosystem in the area. RT's Alex Mihailovich is in Toronto with more.
So while everybody was planning to protect their eyes, a fishery or a fish farm out in Washington state didn't plan for the eclipse. It seems a net broke and it released hundreds of thousands of fish. Literally 305,000 fish escaped this net. These are Atlantic salmon let loose into the Pacific Ocean. That can't be a good thing. Now, 305,000 fish, how much does that weigh, you're asking? Well, that's about 1,360 tons of fish. This net imploded basically because of the tides that were growing and growing on Saturday towards the eclipse that happened on Monday, and the fish were released. Now, the company in question is a New Brunswick, Canada-based company called Cook Aquaculture. Its website says they've safely and sustainably grown fish, Atlantic salmon, in Puget Sound for more than 30 years, and it says it's an ideal place for growing the fish. Atlantic salmon in the Pacific Ocean. How could that be an ideal place for growing Atlantic salmon? The problem here is that now these fish, I should say, are polluting the ecosystem in the Pacific. And there's a lot of things that can happen here. We have Pacific salmon, which lives in a fragile ecosystem. The Atlantic salmon can eat their eggs, they can spawn where Pacific salmon spawn, move up rivers, and they could bring disease to these areas. So this is not a good thing. Some are saying it could be borderline catastrophic for Pacific salmon. If you want Atlantic salmon, why don't you just have it in the Atlantic? That's where it comes from. That's where these fish farms can be. But it seems somebody was smart and decided, well, the supply chain, why have to ship this stuff over when we can just grow it on the other side of the continent? Anyway, when it comes down to Washington State's Department of Fish and Wildlife, they're asking people who fish all you can possibly can right now, because we want you to catch as much Atlantic salmon as you can and get it out of that ocean, because this is a problem, obviously. So bottom line is Atlantic salmon are now polluting the Pacific Ocean, and it's all due to that solar eclipse.